Hello and welcome to BioMentors. Today our topic of discussion is basic techniques in plant tissue culture. So let's get started.
Topic for discussion is basic techniques of plant tissue culture. So before starting the basic techniques regarding the plant tissue culture, we will see what is plant tissue culture. Plant tissue culture or aseptic tissue culture of organs, tissues and any other part of plant under defined physical and chemical conditions in vivo is an important tool in both basic and applied study as well as for commercial applications. So, plant tissue culture is a technique by which tissues, organs, or any other part of plant can be cultured in a definite atmosphere in which physical and chemical conditions are considered and this is done in a aseptic condition. And in vitro means inside a lab it is done, and it is widely used for study and for commercial applications also. So we will now look upon the history of plant tissue culture. So plant tissue cultures, main origin of plant tissue culture, the idea of the plant tissue culture was given by a German scientist, Heberland, at the beginning of 20th century, which led to different types of culture such as root culture, embryo culture, and first true callus culture. But before that, there was no idea. And this was between 1940s to 1960s. He developed a technique, or he cultured something, um, some necessary plants on Knopf's solution. Haberland realized the aseptic conditions and culture media for certain necessary plants. He first discovered that aseptic conditions are needed, and then on a culture media, these plants were kept. In 1989, he cultured a single cell on Knopf's solution. In this culture, the callus was able to synthesize starch, which means the cells were dividing as well as cells were increasing in size. But he failed his goal due to induced cell division. So the cell division increased. In this culture, the cell division increased enormously, and thus he was failed. Despite of his failure, he proposed that plant cells are totipotent. So what does this word means? So totipotency is the ability of an individual cell to express its phenotype of the whole plant from which it is derived. So we all know that we propagate plants by vegetative propagations such as cutting, budding and layering. All those we know. But from any part of the plant, we can make a new plant. This was discovered by Haberland, and this potential of dividing the cells and dividing the whole uh, cells to express their own phenotype into the whole plant is called as its totipotency. So in short, plant does not has a stem cells. In fact, all the cells in the plant are stem cells, but in humans or in any animals, there are stem cells which are totipotent. Haberland is thus known as father of plant tissue culture. After the discovery of after the Haberland experiment, there were many plant hormones which were discovered, and that further lead to plant tissue culture. And there are techniques, there are four main steps involved in basic techniques of plant tissue culture. So what are the steps? First is preparative stage, or we can tell it as establishing stage. So first the plant is taken, the plant is selected. Then this plant under aseptic conditions, they are multiplied. So the second stage is called as multiplication stage. The third stage is called as elongation of root stage. So in the plant tissue culture, depending upon what we want, if we want root or shoot, generally root induction is the first step. But in different types of plant tissue culture, different methods, or we can tell different aspects are seen. But generally, root induction is the main thing. Then transfer this plants into the natural environment. So this step, the transfer of the plants to the natural environment, is called as hardening. So now we will see this diagram. In this diagram, the first is this donor plant. You can see the donor plant. Yes, the donor plant, the first a part of it, example leaf or a shoot, is taken. Then it is kept on a culture media under aseptic condition, and then after elongation of root and shoot induction takes place. First is rooting, then after shooting takes place, and then finally hardening takes place. First, selection of explant, which is also known as preparative phase. Options for the choice of plants can be of different types depending upon what we want from that culture. Can be of our selection can be of different types. For example, if we want a culture of forest species for its medicinal or commercial uses, we will select that plant. For agriculture species to yield high crop production, we will select those plants, or we can also select some ornamental species for its commercial value. So any plant can be taken for this process. The main point to be taken into the account while selecting any plant is that it has to be disease free and mature enough to give good results. So the plant should be of any type. It should be disease free and mature enough to give your culture, to give the good culture. Now, plants should be available in plenty first. What are the things we should keep in mind before doing plant tissue culture? So for plenty, for getting proper quantity and healthy plants, we should try to grow these plants first in greenhouses. The advantage of the greenhouse plant is that it is less contaminated, and it gives, because these plants are grown in absence of microbial growth, and thus they are less contaminated. But there are many different advantages, and these are as under. There are 4 main advantages as mentioned here. So now we will see these advantages. The plant overcomes contamination, which I mentioned. Very few microbial species can survive at high temperature in the greenhouse. So they can overcome contamination. The greenhouse itself is it has very less microbial species inside. So they are resistant, as well as the area is also not having microbes. Physiological conditions are maintained. So due to physiological conditions like temperature, humidity, all these things are maintained in greenhouse. So the foliar growth and the lateral branching is also very high or up to the mark in the greenhouse. Rejuvenation of species may be done, such as important endangered species or important forest species can be developed by giving some hormones and aseptic conditions inside the greenhouse. Now it is seen, the 5th point is that it is seen that the sugar content and the salt concentration given to such plant as a media act as a nutrition source for the microbes. Also does it necessary to maintain aseptic conditions for selecting explants. So here it is mentioned that when we give, while tissue culturing, when we give nutritions to some plants, with that, if any microbes are present in those plant, then these microbes will take sugar and salt content concentration, and these microbes will also grow, and thus it is favorable and it is most necessary step to grow this plants for selection. We should grow this plant in aseptic conditions, which means in greenhouse they should be grown. Now after the selection, we will have to establish the culture. So for establishing the culture, we first have to prepare a media, which means any liquid or semi-solid medium which acts as growth inducer for the plants, because in plant tissue culture we don't grow the plants in soil medium, so this is soilless. But as we know, the soil contains rich nutrient supplements for the plant growth. So externally, this plant hormones and other different nutrients are added in the solution to provide them nutrients. So first, for any culture, we have to prepare a media. The most common media is Moraceous and scoop media, which is also known as MS media. Other different types of media are also available, and they are also used depending upon the type of species and type of culture we are doing. The pH of the media should be 5.8 to 6. Okay. Agar-agar is added as a solidifying agent. So agar-agar is obtained from Gelidium, which is a algae, and it has sol-gel properties. So it is a semi-solid medium which act as a semi-solid medium for the plant growth. So agar is solidified and poured into test tubes of about 20 ml in each, which are autoclaved in the media. So agar-agar can be also poured not in the test tubes, but they can also be poured into some different types such as Petri plates, or we can pour this agar-agar into any into any jars. Note, the thermolabile components are not autoclaved. So we will see what is thermolabile components and what is autoclaving in our further videos. But what is thermolabile, which means they are heat sensitive compounds, and autoclaving autoclave is basically an instrument in which the sterilization process is carried out. So if we put these thermolabile components like vitamins or any other hormones, due to its high heat, which is the heat is about 121 degrees Celsius. So this thermolabile component will be denatured. This is the main reason why we don't put thermolabile components in autoclaving machine. In slant form, the test tube is allowed to solidify and the media is ready for the use. So in the slant form, this media is solidified because by the slant form, the surface area of the test tube or any other thing in which we are culturing or putting our plantlet will increase. So that's why it is in the slant form. Now second is taking the explant. So we have to first collect the explant. It can be either shoot, axile, node, or an internode. Any part of the plant which is cultured is called as explant. Then after selecting the explant, in- it is relaxed, and then after it is sterilized. So how can we sterilize the explant? So there are different sterilants such as NaCl, HgCl2, which is a bactericide, Bevestin, which is a fungicide, and other different surfactants and detergents used to sterilize this plant. There is a very huge topic of sterilization. We will discuss this process of sterilization of the explant in detail in our further videos. But by this chemicals, we can sterilize our explant, and after the sterilization, this plant are washed with distilled water. Remember, after every procedure with sterilization with any chemicals, we wash the explant with distilled water. Now, inoculation. It is done in laminar airflow chamber or laminar airflow hood. So laminar airflow chamber is a machine, or we can say it is a chamber made up of wood or any other metal in which aseptic conditions are maintained. This laminar airflow hood has a HEPA filter, which is known as high efficiency particulate air filter, which creates a positive pressure inside that area, and thus in very high frequency, or we can say in very high amount, the positive pressure of air is focused or coming out from that filters, and at that place we have to work. So we have to inoculate our inoculum or the explant in that place, and thus contamination would be low. Due to this, the contamination would be low because all the fungi or bacterial spores will not enter into that laminar airflow hood. Secondly, I want to mention that laminar airflow hood also contains a UV light, in which the UV light is turned on for about 50 minutes before inoculation, so that all the things in that area is sterilized. And remember, while putting on the UV light, no human or the explant should be put there because the UV light is carcinogenic. The explant is inoculated in the prepared media under aseptic conditions in the laminar airflow, which is mentioned. Now we have to transfer this inoculum into a culture room. Then after the cultured plantlets are taken into the culture room. Before that, the culture room is fumigated with potassium permanganate and formaldehyde in 2:4 ratio. So culture room is a room where after the inoculation, the explant lives for about 20 to 30 days, in which the growth of the explant occurs. So before that, the culture room is fumigated for about certain time. Before that, the culture room is fumigated with potassium permanganate and formaldehyde in 2:4 ratio. Under proper temperature, light, and relative humidity, the plantlets are kept in the culture room. So all these three required physical conditions such as temperature, light, and relative humidity is maintained in the culture room. The temperature in the culture room is about 25 degrees Celsius. The light depends upon the plant which is grown, but 16 hours of light minimum is given in this culture room to the plants. The growth obtained after few days keep them in the tissue culture room may be organized. The growth which is obtained in this tissue culture room can be unorganized. Okay, this is unorganized, not organized. The growth can be organized or unorganized, depending upon which stage it is growing. So now the multiplication. So now the callus is multiplicating, dividing. Organized growth is obtained, or callus, which is called as unorganized growth, which is not differentiated, can also be obtained. Media composition is changed. Then after the media composition is also changed as per requirement. For example, if we don't want first we give hormone of rooting, then after the shoot hormone is given. So this depends on the type of the plant. We can also subculture this culture. Media composition is changed to so if we are getting organized growth, then no problem is there in our culture. But if we are getting unorganized growth or callus, then the media composition is changed as per the requirement, and organized plantlets are multiplied, which is called as, it can be known as subculturing. So the culture is further subcultured to get organized growth from unorganized plantlets. In lab, the temperature is maintained about 20 to 25 degrees Celsius, which we have mentioned, and 2000 to 3000 lux light for 24 hours or 16 hours is given depending upon the type of plant it is incubated. These plants are incubated generally for 10 to 15 days. Elongation and root induction. If many shoots are obtained, then each of the subculture is allowed to grow in a particular size. This is called as elongation. Now, if the shoots are obtained in a culture, then they are subcultured, and the roots are obtained. This is called as elongation. Okay. In vivo rooting media from in vivo rooting mainly contains auxin. The shoot are subcultured onto the rooting media for a period of time. So if we are getting shoot but not getting the roots, then we generally give auxin. Auxin is a hormone which induces rooting in the plantlets. So we give them auxin for certain period of time. We can add the auxin. Or ex vivo rooting. In this technique, the shoots excised from the mother plant, which is to be cultured, is taken out. So shoots are taken out, and the following treatments are given to these shoots. So this is ex vivo. We are taking our plantlet from our culture media or nutrient media and then giving them the treatments. The treatments are as follows. We can give them auxin sprays. Auxins are sprayed on the shoot tips, or shoots are quickly dipped into auxin and removed. This is more economically viable method and hence it is preferred. So ex vivo rooting is more preferred method. Tender shoots are placed on the media. So after few days, quick rooting is seen. Then once the rooting is obtained, then we are on to the stage 5, which is the last stage, which is transferred to a natural environment, which is hardening. The regenerated plantlets are washed. First, they are washed, autoclaved with distilled water in laminar airflow. In the laminar airflow, they are then transferred into pots having autoclaved soil, sand mixture, or a certain chemical, and soil. They can also have vermiculite, moss, because they supply plant with essential nutrients. So there are different soil or potting mixtures which are added to the pots. And then after the plantlets are planted. Then after the semi-hard plants are subject to further hardening by gradually transferring them into lower humidity and finally transferred to greenhouse or directly into the field depending upon the temperature variations. Sometimes these plantlets or the pots are also kept in a lab for a certain time. Also gradual or sudden, why it is done? Due to gradual or sudden exposure to very high temperature may determine the survival percentage of the hardened plant. Specially designed greenhouse for this purpose of hardening is preferable for increased efficiency in hardening of plant tissue culture plants. So this was the end. We will further discuss in our about plant tissue culture in our next video.
And that was the video, guys. If you like this video, please give this video a like button and subscribe to our channel for more weekly content. Thanks for watching.